Saturday night, 8 p.m. at the Vitality Stadium. The Premier League returns, Chelsea return, and Enzo Maresca will be looking to get a second Premier League win of this season and help march his boys on up the table. Chelsea against Bournemouth. I am joined by the big dog, Josh Aveste. It's good to have you back, mate.
It's good to have Chelsea back, to be honest with you, because I'm just so fucking bored of international football.
Anything interesting happened over the international break?
I mean, Jack Grealish and Declan Rice scored against the team that they actually played for originally.
Have you heard all this stuff about, like, all the players that are apparently Irish? Like, mate, do you know how many nationalities you could do this for? If you were going, but, you know, he had a grandmother's dog walker's sister's cousin once, you know.
My grandmother's Irish. I'm thinking about getting the Irish passport purely to travel around Europe. It would be
and the
beautiful.
Irish tattoo.
Yeah, I'm going to get that. Yeah. Do you know what? I feel Irish.
Oh, yeah, because if you've got an Irish, they're part of the EU,
They are, yeah. So if you get the Irish passport, it's properly good.
Yeah. That's the only thing in my life that has changed since England leaving the EU is the speed of getting through the airport.
And by the way, now you're going to have to pay for a visa in Europe. I know this is big, exciting chat.
Way. Really?
You're going to have to pay for a visa. Coming in 2025, £7 a go.
That's not that bad.
It's not too bad, no.
Find £7 down the back of the sofa.
You do, especially now these days that he's fighting. You know, he's rolling around in it. Scrooge McDuck.
Do you know what? I've got to just air this now. I'm not going to be able to watch this match.
I know. This is the
first game of the season that I'm not going to be able to watch.
Yeah.
Hopefully the last game of the season I'm not going to be able to watch.
Yeah.
I have got somewhat of a valid excuse, haven't I?
I mean, you don't go on about it though.
No.
I don't know what you're talking. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Listen.
What could possibly mean that you're not going to watch Chelsea? What could possibly be?
Going to be punching some fella's head in at the time.
Is that before or after your fight?
Both. During the fight and then after at the bar if anyone tries to banter me about Chelsea losing. No, I'm joking.
So we should preempt this and probably say there won't be a match review from Joey straight after this one, unfortunately.
Well, there'd be a very drunken match review if there was. No, there probably won't be a match review straight away after this game, unfortunately, because I am fighting on Saturday night in Newcastle. I'm going to be in the ring probably around 8 o'clock. Yeah. But even if it's later, I'll definitely have my gloves on and be warming up by 8 o'clock. Yeah. So the chances are slim that I'm going to be able to watch the match live.
So why don't we stay up? Why don't we stay up very late and do a really drunken review on the Sunday morning?
We could do. We'll try. We'll try.
No, well, for context, Joey is going to be, hanging.
Slaughtered. I'm really looking forward to this match, though, because I do think that there's been somewhat of a cloud cast over Stanford Bridge and cast over Chelsea within the media and whatnot, when actually I don't think that cloud's been at all warranted. I understand that 4 out of 9 possible points is a little bit underwhelming. Yeah. It's the same for Newcastle. It's the same for Spurs. It's less for Man United, isn't it? So not every single team that we see as direct competition to us right now has got off to an absolute flyer. However, here's what I would say. In those 4 points that we've accumulated, like it. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Yeah. In those 4 points that we have accumulated, I think we've looked better than Spurs. I think we've looked better than Newcastle. We've definitely looked better than Man United.
I mean, I'm not really comparing us to Man United anymore.
No.
Different levels.
Me not. I can't see below. I only look above, which is handy for me because I'm quite short. So I don't really look at our performances in line with the other guys that we feel like we'll be competing with in this Premier League season and have any real worry. But saying all of that, we really need to be getting some points on the board here against Bournemouth, don't we?
If we don't beat Bournemouth, I think the pressure is going to be huge. I'm actually quite concerned with it. And look, Bournemouth are a decent side now. They really are. Got a really good, smart young manager who I think a lot of big teams are looking at as potential candidates for them, to be fair. I could see him going back to Spain and being incredibly successful.
You've always loved the Areola as well, haven't you?
I have. Do you know what? West Ham goalkeepers and Bournemouth managers, I've always loved them.
I do come in pairs, what I'm on about, but I wasn't actually on about either of them.
No, I know.
Anyway, very sensitive.
Yeah. He speaks from knowledge personally.
Extensive research. Yeah, he's a decent manager. He got in there and obviously didn't sort of fly out the traps, did he? He was pretty underwhelming in the first sort of 10, 11 games, something like that. I don't think they had many wins. And then he really did come good with them a little bit. But my main concern about Bournemouth this year was they lost a boy who came through our academy, Solanke, and how would they replace those goals? How would they still have the firepower? Because for a team that sort of finish anywhere, I would say, below like 12th in the Premier League table, if you take away a man who, for the most part, is scoring around 20 league goals in a Premier League season, you are going to massively struggle.
His stats were insane last year. The amount of goals he scored. How the hell did he do that at Bournemouth? Credit to him. He's honestly, he's a very decent player.
And do you think they will struggle for the firepower of that? Because when you do take away that sort of potent all-out number 9 that's able to put you up those sort of numbers, what I sort of feel is like when you play well, you'll win matches. But when you don't play well, those matches that you might have lost or you might have drawn turns into draws and wins when you've got a man who is able to just get on the end of a desperate ball, head something in, get you over the line and drag you to a sort of 1-goal margin victory. Will that go against Bournemouth now this year?
I think it would. I mean, they've signed a Brazilian striker called Ivan Nilsson, I think his name is, who by all accounts, by the data analysts, is a very good player. So, jury's out on him. But they've also got Semenyo, who's played up front for them, who's mainly a winger.
And he is good.
He's decent.
He's better than decent. Yeah. He's good,
He's
mate.
good.
He's good. Last day of the season at Stanford Bridge, I think he was sort of ripping a few of the boys a new one on that day, and he's been good against Chelsea a couple of times.
Conor Gallagher tackle saved, what was it? Would it have been a draw? We won that game, but it would have been a draw.
Yeah, it was actually a Conor Gallagher tackle.
That's what I'm saying,
That ended up setting the ball free to Caicedo and scored from the halfway line, as you do.
The rest is history.
Yeah. How did that not win goal of the season, by the way?
What did win goal of the season?
Do you not think there's like serious techers to scoring from the halfway line?
I mean, I loved it. One of my favourite goals of all time is actually a goal that was scored at Stanford Bridge, but not for Chelsea. Can you remember that goal?
Papi Cisse?
No, that was... I don't think Papi Cisse meant that.
I think you honestly... Hold on, wait. You don't think Papi Cisse meant that goal?
I'm not sure he meant it. The way it moved in the air...
Well, you've gone from I don't think he meant it,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. That. He was on a rich run of form.
That was for me the same level as the Mudryk goal against Arsenal.
No, fuck off. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Brian would kill me.
Against Arsenal,
Brian would kill me for that.
Mudryk against Arsenal was an absolute flop goal.
I mean, he meant it. But apparently, Raya was always off his line. Apparently, the coaches said to him to do it.
He didn't even look. He didn't see it. Papi Cisse, you can tell there was something there.
No, come on, right. Goal scored from the halfway line at Stamford Bridge against us.
Yeah, was it Liverpool?
No. Do you want me to say
Charlie...
the club? Charlie, Scottish.
Yeah.
First name, another first name.
I keep thinking Charlie Martin, not Charlie Martin. Charlie Adam. There you go.
What a goal that was. That was unbelievable. That was against Courtois.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievable goal.
See, I could imagine them doing it against Kepa, but if you've done it against Courtois, that's good going.
Credit to that.
Yeah.
Who won goal of the season, by the way?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got no idea, but I don't think it was Caicedo. I would have heard about it. He would have texted me. He would have said just one goal of the season.
Yeah, buzzing.
And I'd have said, mate, chill out. I've got stuff to do, yeah? Busy at the moment.
See you later.
Yeah. See ya. So, they've got Kepa in goal. Bournemouth.
Well, not against us, but yeah.
Not against us. Yeah. No. It wouldn't matter if he was against us. He's not.
Interesting they got rid of Neto.
Yeah.
Which I think is also a loan, if I'm correct. So they got rid of Neto. He goes to Arsenal, who was their number one goalkeeper, and then they've gambled on Kepa. It is a gamble, isn't it?
I think so, but at the same time, listen, he was playing Champions League football last season. Whether or not he went down the pecking order and became second, third, fourth choice, fifth, sixth, seventh, I don't know, eighth, ninth choice at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
He was still playing Champions League football.
I've got a question for you. And I want you to be honest with me on this one.
I'm always honest with you.
Is Kepa better than Sanchez?
Yeah. He probably is, isn't he?
This is such a joke.
I tell you what, though, mate.
What has happened?
I will tell you something, right? Over the last couple of games, I have been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I don't want to say impressed because I think impressed would be going a bit too far in terms of giving people credit for what they were brought in to do, yeah?
Yeah.
But pleasantly surprised, I think, is the phrase that would fit it most. I've been pleasantly surprised with Sanchez in goal, with his distribution, I think mainly, obviously, there are a couple of moments where you feel we should have done better.
Yep.
I would say for the Eze goal, I don't.
Come
really,
on, you got to get to it. It comes from so far out.
I've seen better keepers beat with
David De Gea
long
would have
range.
saved that.
David De Gea would have saved a lot, but either way, fellow Spaniard, I think that Sanchez has been half decent.
Okay.
And actually, we're going to get onto your team selection, and there'll be a little discussion there because I think you might have twisted rather than stuck with your team selection going into this one.
Well,
but do we need to give Bournemouth any more credit than we've given them? They're a decent little side.
I think Bournemouth are a team that are punching well above their weight. I respect them for staying in the Premier League for as long as they have. I think they're a very well-run club, to be honest with you. So I think we've given them all the credit we need.
Good, because I was getting sick to the stomach of that.
Yeah.
What we need to speak about now is the fact that before we give your preferred team sheet, the injuries are starting to mount up with Chelsea at the moment now, aren't they?
So bad. I mean, are we coming into another injury crisis season?
It can't be as bad as last season,
If
surely.
it is, we might as well just pack it in. Do you know what I mean? It's that bad.
That's why it's good to have 3 or 4 players for each position.
Yeah, exactly. The 45-man squad's actually making sense now. Yeah, no, we're looking at it. Let's go through one by one. I think Reece James is probably still out. Gusto obviously pulls up with a hamstring injury, so I can't see them rushing him back particularly fast, although he probably will be back for the next game, but it seems like it was a relatively minor one. Lavia, I don't think they're going to rush him back for this game, but by everything that I've heard, he's fit enough to be involved in the squads potentially.
I think he is in the reconditioning phase of training, something like that, stepping it up, apparently. So I think that Lavia may have some sort of involvement, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get many minutes in this game.
I have a feeling that
Mudryk,
Cole Palmer...
I've heard that he's got a knock. Mudryk.
What?
I've heard he's got a knock, yeah.
What? We're fucked then.
No, I know.
Mudryk, I mean, if Mudryk doesn't play, how are we going to win?
Throw the sound in.
I could see Mudryk playing for Bournemouth next season.
I bet you didn't think you'd be saying that when we signed him. But
I don't want to say it, to be fair. Yeah. And then who else? Cole Palmer obviously wasn't involved for England. Withdrew for the England squad. I have a feeling that Cole Palmer might not start this game.
You would have Nkunku starting then, I'm guessing?
I think that's probably the most likely... Yeah, that's probably the most likely replacement. Although, I would actually prefer, if it was my decision, I'd prefer Felix to start.
In the 10?
In that role.
Okay. Well, going on that, let's get in to your team sheet. We can see it on screen now.
Thing of beauty.
Why don't you talk me through it?
Yeah, thing of beauty, this team. I mean, it's very simple.
Exquisite.
Yeah. So, look, I've gone Sanchez in goal. I think Maresca's made it really clear, hasn't he, that Sanchez is his Premier League goalkeeper for the time being.
Well, he had already made it clear last time out, and you still picked Jorgensen.
Yeah, well, I think Jorgensen is better.
Are you ready to give Robert Sanchez a bit of credit?
Is this my team or is this...
Are you ready to give Robert Sanchez a bit of credit here?
No, I'm not.
No? Okay.
I think Robert Sanchez was an error signing. I think if you look at it, right, we had 7 goalkeepers on the books. We've spent about 70 million quid on goalkeepers since the...
And the rest.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've still not replaced Czech, Courtois level goalkeeper, have we? I don't think we've had a number one out-and-out goalkeeper since Courtois.
I would say Courtois is the last. The last where I could say, safe pair of hands, between the sticks, really, really trust him. Yeah. However, I think that Petrovic is hard done by, because I think if Petrovic had have had more of a chance to prove his worth to this side, then I think he would have took that opportunity. However, right, people, I just want to quickly take this opportunity to tell you about new partners of the channel, Squawka. When you're in the YouTube industry like I am, there is a certain type of service that you could very much do with having on your side, and that is the service that stops you making blunders. And when I'm preparing for some of my videos, I use the website Squawka to use the player comparison matrix, and that helps me get a better understanding of comparing the players that I'm talking about. For example, a lot of you guys know that for every Chelsea game, I put out my preferred starting lineup, and I do look into the underlying numbers of the players I'm picking and the players that I'm comparing, and that's where Squawka comes in. They offer the best player comparison matrix on the internet. The website is so efficient and so easy that even I can use it. For example, when I'm picking from Chelsea's 30 to 40 odd wingers that we've got at the club, I can very easily jump onto Squawka and see how their stats compare. But you don't need to be a YouTuber to need to use Squawka. You could use it for your bets when you're betting on first goal scorer and things like that. It could give you a better indication. Or you could just use it to look like a genius down the pub, and we all like to do that, don't we? So thank you very much to Squawka for not only helping me prepare for my videos, but also partnering up with the channel. So help support me by supporting the guys that support the channel in Squawka. They are linked in the description for this video. Let's get back into it. I've literally just credited Robert Sanchez's, I'm never going to call it a redemption arc, but a little bit of an uplift in form over the last few games when it does come to playing out from the back, which, as I've said time in, time out, is what it said on the tin when we bought him. So,
in the last 3 games, Jerry, how many clean sheets has he had?
You could go back further than the last 3 games, though, couldn't you?
You could.
In the last 20 games, how many clean sheets has Robert Sanchez had?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's my point. It doesn't instill you with a lot of confidence.
And there's one
you've got to remember, it's not just the goalkeeper.
It's clean sheets, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you used to have a bit of a problem with wetting the
I
bed.
did. Yeah,
and
those sheets are crusty.
6 months ago.
Those sheets are crusty, mate. Don't worry about that.
There you go.
By the way, we have to give an honourable mention to Mendy as well. By the way, he had a very good season, didn't he?
People would be getting in the comments.
Yeah, Mendy had a very good year.
The fall off was hard though, wasn't it?
In fact,
do you remember Leeds
goalkeeper,
away 3-0? He was horrific, wasn't he, Mendy? Oh.
I mean, one goalkeeper of the season, didn't he? Wasn't he in the Ballon d'Or goalkeeper
team of the season?
He
Mendy.
was.
He was great when he came in.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. Legend.
So continuing with your team.
So I've gone for Fofana at right back.
That's a bit of a mad one. Now, obviously, we were always going to be clutching at straws when it came to who would start in that right back position. If this was last season, we'd have Alfie Gilchrist there, I'm sure.
Can I explain my
Trevor
thinking?
Chalobah. You can explain, but I will just ask you before you explain.
Yeah.
Why not Disasi? Because I think that Disasi has proven last season that he can actually do a job at right back.
That makes me feel physically unwell, what you just said there.
Mate,
it makes me feel physically
listen, I've been
unwell.
in the stands and watched Disasi play at right back twice last season, and I thought both times he had a good game.
So, look, my rationale is this. I think I don't think Lavia is going to be fit and well enough to play this game. Mm-hmm. And so I don't therefore think you can put Caicedo at right back, which I think is probably the next option on the table. And then I'm looking at the centre-back options that could play there. I think Fofana's got all of the ability. That he's got the pace, he's got I think he can whip in across. I think he's got the better attributes to be a sort of a makeshift right back than Disasi does. And ultimately, I think Disasi isn't really in the thinking right now for the Premier League. I think he's a Europa League player, Conference League player. I think that's it. So for me, I just think Fofana can get up and down. And also, I just like the ability that Fofana can be the third centre-back.
Do you not think that's going to be too taxing on Fofana's body when you say about getting up and down? Or do you think systematically we don't really play him that way
We don't do it. And I actually think what that enables us to do is play Cucurella in the natural formation that he wants to play in and allow him to invert into midfield. And I think we're so much better with that. So
you're having Tosin Adarabioyo, the man you don't really rate all that much in the middle.
Do you know what? I was thinking on my way over here, I was thinking, do I put...
Come on, bend the knee. Bend the knee for Tosin Adarabioyo because I think Tosin is the man.
Yeah, I know you do. I don't know why. But I was thinking in the journey over here, I was thinking, do I just go with the player that I really want to put in there, which is probably like a Disasi or a Badiashile, or do I go for the option that will make Joey the happiest? And I actually decided on that option.
You're all about making me happy. Yeah. You are all about making me happy.
No, I think with Fofana's pace alongside him, I'm less worried about Tosin's potential error proneness.
Tosin's pretty quick.
I didn't say slow. I said error proneness.
Do you think he makes a lot of errors?
I think I was listening to a podcast the other day where a Fulham fan was saying he's got an error in almost every game.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is from the horse's mouth. You know, if the Fulham fans are saying it, they've watched him for a long time. They know it better than anyone. So
then Colwell will be sort of part of that back three almost when we're in possession, when we're in attack, definitely. And you'd have Cucurella finally inverting. Yeah. When is, and listen, Enzo Maresca is a much more knowledgeable football man than me, but when is Enzo Maresca finally going to invert Cucurella? Because when he does, I feel like it's going to be a light bulb moment almost, a penny falling moment. However, I think that we would all argue that the reason we haven't seen it so far is probably due to the exclusion, or not exclusion, but the unavailability of Reece James so far. Because I think once Reece James comes back into that team, maybe there'll be more of a push for Cucurella to invert.
Yeah, Gusto, obviously, I think Gusto is so good technically. I think that Maresca wants him in and around the centre of the pitch as well. And I think he's played so well as well. So
but at the same time, do you still feel he's a little bit wasted there?
He is, but I mean, in this system, he's either going to be a other centre back, a third centre back, or he's going to be inverted into midfield.
Well, we'd have to look at his numbers so far from this season and see how they match up. And if we were going to look at those numbers, there's only one place we'll be looking at them, isn't there?
Yeah,
Squawka.
Yeah,
obviously. Today's video sponsor, partners of the channel, and my favourite website when it comes to pretending I'm a bit of a football expert nowadays. I just go on the old Squawk. I don't tell anyone. Go down the pub, go meet my mates, and I just say, oh, do you know he's been dribbled past nearly twice the amount of times as whoever player I'm comparing to. Either way, but if we were to look at Malo Gusto's sort of stats in terms of attempted crosses, you would imagine they'd be right down this season.
I can imagine.
And I feel like that was one of our most consistently potent outlets when it came to goals last season, was the ability to whip a ball into the box from Malo Gusto. He's wicked at that, isn't he?
He is wicked at it. But I think ultimately the game is I think the game is changing now, because back in the day we used to have out-and-out wingers that were crossing balls in for big centre forwards to get headers in. And I think if you look at our play now, it's all inverted wingers cutting inside and shooting, getting goals themselves. Do you know what I mean? So I just think the game has just completely changed. I don't think we'll see a lot of wing backs crossing the ball in for our system, just because the wingers are so high and wide anyway. The wing backs will be inverted in, I think.
So you've got Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo in the middle. Obviously, you're going to have Cucurella inverting in with those two.
Yeah. I would love to see Lavia in there, mate, but he's not fit. I would love to see Lavia involved in this team. I think we really miss him, and I do think he'd probably get in the team over Enzo for me.
Now you've gone Madueke, Palmer, Neto. I think the general consensus, that's the word I was looking for. There you go.
Consensual consensus.
Yeah. I think the general feeling around our front line basically at the moment is that is the best option at the moment.
Yeah.
But what that then does is leaves out the likes of João Felix. It leaves out the likes of Jadon Sancho.
Nkunku.
And obviously Nkunku, Mykhailo Mudryk. Interesting. Enzo Maresca spoke about Jadon Sancho, and he spoke about his ability to be able to combat the low block when teams try and play that against us. The word, did you hear any of his comments about Jadon Sancho?
I didn't see this. No, I didn't see this.
Yeah, I think I'd be paraphrasing, but he spoke about him being a really useful player when it comes to breaking down a low block, and almost a player that will be good for us coming off the bench, which, you know, people are going to have to come off the bench in this system. Do you think there's any chance we get to see a glimpse of Jadon Sancho? Because a lot of the Chelsea accounts have been putting out some of the training ground footage of him.
Looks great.
Listen, it's easy to look good on highlights, but he doesn't half look bad, does he?
It's very good to look good on the highlights from the training ground as well, by the way.
There you go.
But yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I think we're going to see more of him in the Conference League. To start off with, but I think, you know, blood him in that. You got to remember, he's had a very disjointed pre-season. Man United didn't want him anywhere near the
Although
squads.
he did play in pre-season.
He did, but I don't think he's going to be at the fitness level that Maresca will want at Chelsea, bearing in mind he missed the first few games with Man United as well, was sat on the bench. So I think if you're looking at fitness levels, I don't think he'll be anywhere near the other players.
Great option to have coming on off the bench though, isn't it?
As you say, I think it could be a wonderful super sub. I think Neto will start.
So out of Nkunku and João Felix, who is closest to pushing into that first team for you? And I understand that you've just picked this starting 11 with this specific match in mind, but who would you say is closest out of those two?
I think if you look at form, I've been so disappointed with Nkunku in the actual competitive games.
Many would
recently.
say that's really harsh, mate, because if you look at his sort of goals or goals and assists to minutes on the pitch ratio, it's really impressive, isn't it?
It is, but also he's barely played it, has he? Like, you look at the minutes that he's had. I mean, in the Premier League, has it been about 10 minutes, I think, so far in the 3 games in the Premier League? So
the problem was,
really
in pre-season, he looked like he was our man. And it kind of looked like he was going to be one of the men that would be tasked with stepping up to the plate in light of the absence of Cole Palmer when there was, the potential of him not playing, him being rested with the amount of games we're going to have, hopefully not him being injured, you sort of looked at Nkunku and you went, right, okay, you can take the baton off him almost. And that hasn't really transpired so far.
It hasn't. And ultimately, I do feel that both João Felix and Nkunku are best in that sort of like number 8, number 10 position, that they can come in, arrive at the box late, get shots away, impact play sort of slightly deeper. But I do just look at João Felix and I look at what he does and I'm just so excited by everything that he does on the pitch. Even going back to that loan spell that he had at Chelsea, I just thought he's so exciting. And I just think he's that sort of level above Nkunku right now. I don't want that to be the case. As you say, I think I was so impressed by him in pre-season, Nkunku. And I thought he was going to be really knocking on the door for a first team place and ultimately probably getting into the first team. But yeah, I've just been so disappointed.
If João Felix was to displace Nkunku, it'd have a real level of irony to it, wouldn't it? Because the reason that João Felix's loan spell was not made permanent, apart from the financial implications of it, was obviously the fact that we looked at it and we had Nkunku coming in. So we sort of thought, do we need João Felix back when we've got almost a like for like and a player that we feel that could be more affordable to the club and we've already done a deal for? Do we need to go and get him? Now we have gone and got João Felix, and be very interesting out of the two of them because I do think that both of their best form will lie in that sort of number 10 position, second striker almost, and that's where they're going to be best, more in the middle of the pitch creatively.
And you look at some of the briefings, by the way, from the club, we're hearing that actually they're considered as sort of forwards. They're considered as number 9 options now. So you've got Nicholas Jackson, number 1. You got Nkunku, number 2, and João Felix, number 3 for number 9. So I ultimately think the way this is going to shake down is that Christopher Nkunku will be playing in the Conference League as a number 9, as opposed to a Mark Yu, who hasn't really set the world on fire.
Do you know what,
in
mate?
the Conference
I'll be
League.
completely honest with you. Out of those 3 options you've just named there, that wouldn't be my order. My order would be Nicholas Jackson first choice, João Felix second choice, and pushing Jackson hard, maybe.
As a number 9.
As a number 9, and then Nkunku. However, I will say that I see Nkunku and João Felix both being best just behind that number 9, a little bit deeper, where not only can they chip in with those goals, but they can also assist and create a lot more. But I actually think that out of the 3 you named there, in terms of Jackson, Nkunku and João Felix, I think Nkunku's looked, I'd say, underwhelming every time I've seen him in the number 9 position. And I do want to say here that there's a little bit of almost not ill feeling, but a little bit of a cloud here when we're speaking about Nkunku. I am not down in tools on Nkunku at all. I do really think that he's a player that can be somewhat of a senior figure for us, somewhat of a leader for us, but he does need to find his form, doesn't he? And he needs to do it quickly because with the size of our squad and with the way things are going at Chelsea at the moment, a couple of bad games, like we've seen with Mykhailo Mudryk and whatnot, and you can quickly be cast aside, can't you?
And the beauty of it, though, mate, is this season we're going to have so many games. He's going to get an opportunity, even if he's not involved in the Premier League team, which I think at the moment it's quite clear that he's not. And I think if you look at the way that we've made our changes throughout the season thus far, maybe not even first choice in terms of some of the subs, which is mad.
I know he's had games where he hasn't had a look in.
Yeah, so there you go. So I think the beauty, as I say, is that because we've got so many games, hopefully in the Conference League, he's going to get his opportunity to play. And if he does play his way into those games and he sort of smashes it, gets hat-tricks in those games, then he's going to be knocking on the door for the Premier League. So I don't think we need to worry too much about that. And I do think he'll come good. But let's speak about
Nicholas Jackson, who you have put there up front, because I've seen him come in for stick from time to time. Now, I sent you a little, and again, highlight reels are brilliant. They look good. But I sent you a little reel the other day, didn't I, about the side of Nicholas Jackson that the media won't show you. Mate, he's magic.
I love him. He could have been playing for Bournemouth, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, they were in for him. He failed the medical. So he literally could have been playing for Bournemouth against us.
I'll tell you one before we move on from that.
Yeah.
Guess who had a deal agreed to go to Brentford? Before we
Chelsea
signed
player.
Him. Yeah, before we signed him.
I remember Noosa, the rumours around Noosa, but we didn't end up signing him. I don't know, tell me.
Mykhailo Mudryk.
Yes, I did hear rumours about this.
About a year. I think the January before we signed him, Shakhtar Donetsk had basically firmed out a deal with Brentford, and Brentford were going to sign him. For whatever reason, it didn't happen, and
Can I tell you another funny story about Brentford player who's now decided that he doesn't want to play for them anymore?
Go on.
A famous footballer has a son that was playing for Brentford B.
Yeah.
Do you know who it is?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Romeo.
So Romeo Beckham was playing for Brentford B, the team. They don't have an academy side,
No,
so he's
they've
playing for
got a B
Brentford B.
team,
Yeah, so he's playing for Brentford B. And you thought, oh, this might be a springboard for a sort of burgeoning career for a young, player with such an unbelievable name on the back. I mean, if you've got a Beckham number 7 playing for Brentford, that's a huge signing for them. Do you know what's happened with Romeo Beckham recently?
He's retired, isn't he?
He's retired. So Romeo Beckham has retired from football. What is the reason he's done so?
To do photography, you're saying?
No, he wants to be a model, and he already has some contracts signed.
I'm thinking of retiring from podcasting. Now I've lost all this weight for the fight. I mean, these cheekbones are cheekboning.
Yeah, that jawline has come out of nowhere. So yeah, mate, you and Romeo Beckham, there you go. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Peas in a pod.
There you go. Jackson's class.
Jackson, I love him. Honestly,
is the stick that goes on around Nicholas Jackson just unfair? Because
really
there
unfair.
will be people pointing towards that Crystal Palace game, and there will be people saying, yeah, okay, you got your goal, you got on the score sheet, but you had 2 opportunities late on to win the game for us. And if you are to go on and to be a striker that is talked about in years to come for Chelsea Football Club, there'll be opportunities that you'll need to be taken. Now, Thierry Henry, Nicolas Anelka, to name a few, are both strikers that at the age of Nicolas Jackson, and maybe Anelka's a harsh one because he was, but
he
definitely
was so
Thierry
good.
Henry, at the age Nicolas Jackson was at right now, almost, listen, people will hate me comparing them to, but almost a similar footpath. Left winger, brought over to the Premier League, tasked with playing through the middle in the number 9 position, maybe showing glimpses of brilliance game in, game out, but maybe not the most clinical player in the world.
Yeah.
And then we all know what happened with Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Do you think that is the only part of his game missing with Nicolas Jackson? Because when I look at him, I think he's so well-rounded, man.
I just
really
want
do
to
think he's an
bookmark this
exquisite
right
player.
now. I just want to bookmark this right now that Joey Knight has just said that Nicolas Jackson's as good as Thierry Henry. And I just
I
love
didn't say
it.
he was as good as Thierry Henry. I'm making a comparison between the two.
No,
I think if Nicolas Jackson can become clinical in front of goal, we've got a striker there that is up there, top 4 strikers in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think, look, the key thing with Nicolas Jackson is he's got unbelievable potential, but he's also doing it right now. Like, he's not one of these players that could be amazing in 5 years' time. He is impacted in the first season he's been in the Premier League. He's got a very good return of goals and assists, and I think he is constantly slept on. I think, just so everyone knows, he's in my fantasy team this week, so that just tells you everything you need to know about how much I rate him.
There you go.
Quite frankly, I think he's going to be immense quality. I'll tell you the one thing I am worried about, though. I'm worried that in January, when we do get the Victor Osimhen deal confirmed, because I think it's going to happen in January, I think Nicolas Jackson is the one that suffers. I think that'll be a real shame, because he's shown that he could be the number 9.
The problem is we've now gone and signed a load of options for the left wing as well, because I think Nicolas Jackson can still very much do a job on the left wing. When we looked at some of those sort of highlights that I sent over to you, how often was he cutting in from the left wing? How often was he on the flank, cutting in, taking the ball on the turn? I think he's a brilliant player, and I do think that Nicolas Jackson is deservedly the number 1 choice for number 9 at this moment in time.
Good news, Joey. We're seeing him for at least 8 or 9 more years, haven't we? Hasn't he got a contract until 2033?
Bit of a mad one, yeah. Bit of a mad one.
We aren't going to be getting rid of him anytime soon.
Speaking of what we're seeing, what do we need to see from Chelsea in this match? And I've used the C word a few times there.
Have you?
Not that C word. Not that C word, but clinical. We need to be clinical in this match, because if we have a first half like we had against Crystal Palace, where we're playing some beautiful football, it's flowing, it's Marescable in full force. However, when those opportunities do fall to us, we're not able to convert them, then there's always that risk in the second half against a real up for it Saturday 8 o'clock home crowd at the Vitality. There'd be a few beers floating about there. It could become really tough for us in that second half. So I think we need to get off to a good start, and I do think we really need to be clinical and finish our opportunities early on here.
I totally agree with you. Do you know what I want to see more than that, though? I want to see us having a clean sheet in this game. I want to just see some defensive solidity. I just want to see us being just so calm at the back. I don't want to see any sort of mistakes. I just want to see Sanchez doing the easy ball sometimes. I want to see him making some saves, claiming the balls and some of the crosses. I just want to see us shut up shop for one game. I'm not saying play defensively. I'm just saying actually keep the ball at the back of the net.
Funny
I think
enough,
if we
mate,
do that, we'll start winning.
I'll tell you
games.
what, funnily enough, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. But that's one of the last times I can remember Sanchez getting a clean sheet.
Bournemouth.
Was away at Bournemouth, 0-0. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. That was a shite game, though. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember one since. There probably was. But
There's got to be one.
But
There's got to be one.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play that much at the tail end of last season, did he?
No. Petrovic got a few clean sheets.
Oh, I love Petrovic.
Should we go score prediction for this one?
Yeah, go on. Do you want to go first?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I will just tell these lot what I plan on doing, because obviously we're recording this through the week, and we're not going to get this up now until Thursday. I think on Friday there will be a press conference with Enzo Maresca. So depending on how busy I am with fight week schedule, it's my intention to get a final preview video out for you lot where I give my starting 11 for this game and talk you through that. I will try and do that after the press conference when we've got a little bit more clarity of who will and won't be available. But I think I'll give my score prediction in that video too. So I'm going to push
okay,
you
right, fine. There's all the pressure's on me.
prediction.
Okay, early doors. All right, fine. I reckon in this game, it'll be a 2-1. I think they will score. And I think do you know what? I'm going to go for a Bournemouth first goal. And I think we pull it back.
Okay. Who do you reckon scoring for Chelsea?
I think the first goal will be a Nicholas Jackson goal. I think
Any chance Pedro Neto gets his first goal?
I don't think I'm actually going to go. I'm actually going to go for João Felix with the second.
Nice.
That's what. Maybe a Pedro Neto assist. How about that? That'd be good. That'd be good enough.
Jadon Sancho.
Oh, Jadon Sancho goal.
No, I'm going to go Jadon Sancho to come off the bench and do something.
An assist.
Maybe an assist, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Mate, honestly, I'm not just going on the training highlights. I'm really excited about Jadon Sancho at Chelsea Football Club. I think that this could be a perfect fit for him. And I think that sometimes when you look at players falling out of favour, we'll often look at the likes of Dele Alli and other players that had fallen out of favour. They get these moves and we think, oh, this could be what relights their career, you know. But for everyone you've got like that, you've also got players like Jesse Lingard who did see his career really relight with a move. Ross Barkley had the same, you know. There are these English talents who were underperforming at big clubs, got a move, and ultimately then, you know, found themselves back in form. And if I had to put my last penny on it right now, I'd say that Jadon Sancho does do that at Chelsea Football Club.
Do you think he's mainly going to play off the left for us, or do you think he might be off the right?
I think he'd be off the left. I think he will be.
Yeah.
But he can do a job over on the right, can't he?
Yeah, he can. And that's why I'm asking you the question, because I'm looking at it right now. Obviously, I mean, we've got so many options on both sides now. If you class Cole Palmer as a right winger, having Madueke and Cole Palmer on the right hand side,
it's not bad, is it?
And then Neto can obviously play on the right as well. I mean, the wing options right now probably our most stacked area now.
Yeah,
you have to say.
So, yeah.
Coming from a Tuchel era in which the wing option is probably one of the weakest areas. It's mad, isn't it?
We're having it.
We're having it.
We're having it off.
We're going to win.
I think we're going to win, yeah. This should be a good result for Chelsea Football Club. People, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Stick your starting 11 picks in the comments and let us know who you would be going with. Subscribe to Josh's channel. It is linked in the description, and I will see you all in the next one.